This is a catechism for today. With His Grace, Jerome, the titular Archbishop of Selsey.
This is not alarmism. This is not exaggeration. This is fact. Cold, brutal fact. The culture of death is no longer creeping. It is marching through Parliament, through policy, through your front door, and most people are asleep. 3 bills, 1 regime, 1 philosophy. Man has no value unless the state says so. Let me name them. First, the Criminal Justice Bill, carrying amendments NC1 and NC20. What do? They decriminalise abortion up to birth. That means a child 9 months formed, ready for life, can be lawfully killed. Not for a medical reason, not for danger to the mother, simply because it is unwanted. Not reform, legalised infanticide. Signed, sealed, delivered by Parliament. Second, the Terminally Ill Adults End of Life Bill. Assisted suicide, they call it. But who are we assisting? Not the dying, the system. Assisting doctors to become executioners. Assisting families to be rid of the inconvenient. Assisting the government to redefine death as care. What this bill says, beneath the language of so-called mercy, is this: your life ends when we say it does. Third, the Public Authorities Fraud, Error and Recovery Bill. If they think you've misreported something or failed to answer a question properly, the state can freeze your bank account. No judge, no hearing, just suspicion. This is not about fraud. It's about control. And these 3, they form a pattern. Not chaos, not coincidence, design. 1 bill targets the beginning of life, 1 the end, 1 the means of life in between. That is the definition of totalitarianism. That is tyranny. Oh, British, soft-spoken, well-dressed and polite, but tyranny all the same. And who administers it now? The Labour government. But not just Labour. The whole corrupt class that has sold this country's soul. They no longer serve. They rule. They no longer protect. They eliminate. When you strip the unborn of personhood, when you offer the dying a needle instead of hope, when you seize a man's earnings without trial, you are not upholding justice. You are constructing a system of managed death. And you, yes, you, are being trained to accept it, to call it compassion, to call it progress, to call it choice. Lies. These are not the fruits of a healthy society. They are the signs of one that has already died in its soul. But there is another way. We who still believe, we proclaim that man is made in the image of God, not valued for what he produces, not discarded when he suffers, not redefined when he's inconvenient. From womb to deathbed, from prison to poverty, every life is sacred. Not because we say so, but because God says so. And to our parliamentarians, I say this: you may pass these bills, but you will not escape accountability. Not in history and not before the throne of God. To the faithful, now is not the time to be timid. Now is not the time to hide behind sentiment. Now is the time to speak, to stand, to suffer if need be, for the truth. Because if we do not resist now, we will soon be unable to resist at all. The culture of death is very real, but so is Christ, and he is life, and his life is light, and he will not be extinguished.
You've been listening to A Catechism for Today. Subscribe for more truth, clarity, and courage in the fight for the soul of our civilization.